Today we're going to talk about what could be a sensitive subject, race. So first of all, you know that we are colorblind. We do not care what race our children are. We've had every race under the sun. Nothing matters to us. We teach our kids to be colorblind. I am half white and half Mexican.
I am coconut. Brown on the outside, white on the inside.
Yes. And
I don't speak Spanish, is why I say that.
yeah.
People always give me the nickname coconut because of that.
Yeah, we are a non-Spanish speaking Mexican family. And we don't care what our kids are, but you should know that eventually society's gonna notice what's going on. Like, oh, hey, your kid's black and you guys are Mexican. And they're gonna ask stupid questions like, who's the father? And something that I might not...
Which one of you carried them?
They ask that anyways, but just people feel like they can ask you whatever comes to their mind sometimes. So we posted a video a couple months back about a lady who was a white lady who had adopted a little boy who was black and his siblings. And one day the little boy was just kind of brushing his teeth and was like, I wish a brown family adopted me. And not really pointed at the adopted parent, but just kind of a general wonderment. And the parent, of course, was kind of like, but we love you so much. And the kid was like, I know. Okay, there was no harsh feelings there. He just kind of had noticed that he didn't look like his family. And that happened to us semi-recently. Our little girl, who is blonde with blue eyes, was kind of like, why don't I look like any of you guys? I don't really belong here. I'm blonde. I have blue eyes. You guys are all... Everyone has brown hair and brown eyes.
Mine are brown or black.
I have blue eyes, but I'm not white enough for it. And she's really Caucasian. We have to extra sunblock her. When we forget to sunblock the others, it's okay, but her, she's outside for 2 minutes and is like burnt to a crisp.
We went to the beach and overly sunblocked. And even then, she was still like, her poor face was like just so red. So finally I was like, okay, we gotta buy her a hat. I made her wear a hat all around the beach. She hated it, but you know,
she's really fair skinned. But she didn't complain too much.
She complained when you're not listening. She complained. Like every time we were leaving, I'm like, oh, don't forget your hat, go get it. And she's like, so I guess that's complaining to me. Maybe she didn't say anything, but she definitely semi-non-verbally expressed her hatred for it. So
yes. So while we don't notice that our kids might be different colors than us, they're gonna notice, and specifically society's gonna notice what color they are eventually. And the point that this lady made in the video was that especially little boys who are black, they're cute and sweet to the world up until they're about 15, and then to a lot of society they become like this threatening menace. And while you don't think of your sweet baby boys that, you have to know that the surrounding world might look at them like that and teach them how to kind of protect themselves from things like, you know, which is controversial, cops that are going to be more sensitive to their movements than they might be to a white guy. So if you're white, and like I've never had to notice, like this is a scene from This Is Us that where I'm shopping and, you know, the security guard maybe comes closer to me and is kind of watching my every move, as opposed to in the scene in This Is Us, he was like, you think I haven't noticed the security guard got 10 feet closer to me since I walked in? You think I haven't noticed this and that? So just be aware that people are jerks, people suck, so not everyone is as welcoming and colorblind as your family is, hopefully.
I mean, it happens. Like, I can't remember a whole lot for me as a kid where I've noticed those things, where people were treating me differently because I am Hispanic, and I am definitely on the darker side of being Hispanic, especially in the summertime. But our daughter, our oldest one, asked us, you know, how old were you when you think you saw a color line? And I was like, I don't really know. And then I went back and thought about it, like, it does happen. I remembered that I was in 4th or 5th grade, and I was in drill team, and I remember having a really big crush on this boy, and thinking that I would never talk to him because he wouldn't even look at me because I was Mexican. Like, that's what went through my head. And I mean, she had a situation where you called someone, right?
Yeah, I was calling to rent a house in college or something. And I called the owner because I had driven by, and I was like, hey, my name is C. It was Hernandez at the time, which is a very obvious Hispanic last name. C. Hernandez was calling about your property, X, you know. And he kind of gave me the information, and then my to-be roommate called and asked with a white person last name, and the guy was like, you better hurry up and get it, some Mexican just called me. And I was like, well, I guess I am Mexican, but I mean, it was weird for me that somebody drew that line. It was like, hurry, white person, before the Mexican gets it. Because if he saw me in person, obviously he would be like, oh, you're white, you're cool. But over the phone, since my last name was Hernandez, he was trying to get a white person in there. So that was the first time I had seen like a color line, because no one does it to my face because I look white, I guess. Which is shitty, sorry. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I think it's terrible, but this is the world we live in, so at least teach your kids that people suck.
Yeah. Teach them that people suck. Teach them to not be one of those people that suck.
Yeah,
Teach
that's all we
them
can
to,
do.
like, sincerely treat everyone the same and with nothing but kindness. And teach them to be aware.
That people will see them differently.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
all we can do.
Like I've heard, like I was talking to my nephew probably about, I wouldn't say a week or two ago, and he was telling me about a little girl that he liked, and he said, she's like me. I said, what do you mean she's like you? He's like, you know, she's like me, like Mexican and white. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, who taught him that? It wasn't us. It probably wasn't his family. It was other kids, you know,
Yeah.
just living in the world where people are like, you're Mexican, you're black, you're white. And, you know, kind of constantly pointing it out to you. And eventually you kind of are like, oh, yeah, I guess I am Mexican. Whether you fought like that or not your whole life. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard people discourage parents from adopting outside of their race because I guess they think they can't be sensitive enough to another race, which I wholeheartedly disagree with. If you feel it in your heart to foster and adopt any children, please do. There's plenty of them out there. But just be aware that you look different and don't pretend like you don't. And be sensitive to whatever they need that's different from you. In this story that we posted the video eventually, that she actually was able to reconnect with some of the child's biological family. And that kind of helped, I guess, for him to see like, oh, I did come from other brown people. You know, I'm not black, so I don't know how that feels. I was raised by people that look like me, so whatever helps the kid kind of feel whole and like he belongs in the world, or she, then to do the best you can. With our little blonde girl, I think it helps that we have, like, my mom is very blonde and blue-eyed, and one of my brother's kids is blonde hair and blue-eyed, so like, oh, you look like some of us, just not us here at the dinner table, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know why that matters, but it does to them.
And what matters to them should matter to you.
Yeah. Sometimes,
even if it's something so silly.
yeah,
like,
sometimes you're like, we don't need to do that. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yeah, you should remember that. Things that are important to them are, like, it's in their little world. That's what's important to them.
It's a good point. And oftentimes you will think it's real dumb. But yeah. That's not important. We don't need to do that.
I think, like, probably 90% of what my kids say is dumb. I'm like, what? That's not important at all. Like, completely irrelevant. It's not going to matter in 5 years. It is your job, whether you are fostering or adopting or have adopted, or they're your biological children, or maybe they're your niece and nephew or your grandkids that you're raising. It is about them. You gotta come down to their level.
Way down sometimes. This morning I had to explain the same thing to my 8-year-old and 18-year-old because they were complaining that it was freezing outside, and I was like, it's not freezing. Freezing is when water turns to ice, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And they're like, oh, it's freezing to me. I'm like, in my brain, I cut it off at that. I'm like, whatever. But in my brain, I'm like, freezing isn't subjective. It's an objective number where water turns to ice. But I was like, let it go. Okay. It was very cold. Grab a jacket. It was all I needed to say. I didn't need to discuss science with them. So
Sometimes it's hard.
I don't know if that was a win for me or not, but I was able to stop arguing with them for at least half the argument.
At least half of it.
I knew I wasn't gonna win.
At least
So
you can
I'm
do
right,
that.
right? Freezing is not
Also,
subjective.
we're in Texas.
Yeah, it's not freezing. It was like 55 degrees.
So something else I want to touch on is just that as a foster parent, you can be very specific about the children you'd like to take into your home. And like she said before, we are very open to any and all children. The most stipulation that we have on it is age. And, you know, in the beginning it was like small children, I don't know, 3 or 4 to 7, but that changed very quickly and ended up being babies and teenagers and then babies again, and vice versa. But right now our stipulation is school-age kids 5 to 10, school-age boys 5 to 10. But you can be very specific, so if fostering is something that you are interested in or are doing and aren't aware of this, you can say, you know, I would only like to take in school-age kids that are Caucasian, or school-age kids that are Hispanic only, or school-age kids that are Black only. Like, I don't want to take in
a race that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah, and you don't even have to say, like, I don't want to take in Caucasian kids, or I don't want to take in Mexicans. You just say, you know what, my preference is that we would like to be open for children age ranges, 5 to 10, and I would like for them to be boys or girls is fine, but we would only like to take in Hispanic and Black children. You're allowed to say that, and you don't need to feel bad for saying that, because again, it's on paper, and it's better than you taking in a child that you don't think that you can really care for properly. And that means getting to know different cultures and races and ethnicities and things like that.
Yeah, you want to set your kids up to be successful, so don't take a kid like a Black little boy if your dad's super racist and he's around a lot. I mean, you don't expose this poor child to your racist father or whatever, you know. So we were trying to put him in a successful place. CPS is trying to put them in a successful place. So be honest with your limitations. If you can't have somebody that's a different color than you, just say that, okay? That's your problem. Keep it with yourself, all right? Help who you can, and that's all you can do.
Yep. And remember, if you can't foster, help a foster family.
And get your pets spayed and neutered.
Sure, that too.
We're just giving like random pieces of advice.
That's pretty funny. Keep it in there.
Bob Barker.